What up, guys? This is Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with the OTF Audio Daily Beats. Welcome to my garage gym, as always. New to these, thank you for tuning in. Listen to me ramble about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in description to support me. Just buy me a coffee every once in a while, totally fine. Feed my caffeine addiction. Appreciate it. Anyways, we are gonna go over day 8 of 12 Days of Fitness. This is the best run road template of 2024. It's endurance on the treads, power for the rower, strength on the weight floor. We saw this workout back in June on the 10th. And of course it was repeated in June at some point. We'll do kind of the key concepts, treads, rowers, top of the weight floor, and then the 2G, and then go into the 3G. So 23-minute tread block with the rowers. We got 5 rounds following the same pattern. You have tread, exercise, row. Your tread distance, reps, and rows go down each round. How many rounds can you complete? For the floor by itself, you have 2 blocks that equal a total body strength session. So lower, upper, and core. That being said, 23 minutes, 5 rounds. If they get through all 5, it's their choice of the bonus, whether they stay on the tread, stay on the rower, steady state, do intervals, cry a little bit, whatever they got to do until eventually a 30-second all out. So we look at the rounds of work. As mentioned, it's tread distance, then a bodyweight exercise, the speed squat, and then a short distance row efforts that will increase intensity every round. When it comes to the treads, members dictate the intensity they move at. So they choose their speed that they want to go at, whether they want to hold their base or something more. Realistically, if you're looking at this template, round 1, the longest round, the hardest one, half a mile on the treadmill. Power walkers is 0.25, and then they will do 25 speed squats and then 250 meter push all out row. That half mile on the tread, if anything, for the people who are unsure of what to do for that, start at base. Because if you look at it for 5 rounds, it's 5 levels because they get shorter. So round 1, hold your base. Round 2, hold like a base push. Round 3, 0.3, can you do that at your push pace? Round 4, it's a push all out. Round 5, 0.1, it's an all out. All right, so that's one way to kind of coach it for people who are unsure of how to kind of dictate what to do. Because a lot of times people are like, choose my intensity. The reason why I take Orange Theory is because you tell me what to do. I don't like to think for myself. So that's one way to kind of help them set it up where it's like, hey, round 1, let's use your base. Round 2, let's increase maybe like a base push, so on and so forth. Obviously, when it comes to the transition after their treadmill, depending on your studio layout, let the members know where you want them to do their speed squats. That way you don't cause any traffic jams. So like in my studio specifically, if people did their speed squats right behind their treadmills, that's not going to allow much room for people to, get around. So when we coached this last time, when I did this last time, I told them hey, do your speed squats at your rower, then get on your row, do your row, and then go back to your treads. That way it was clear path, from the treads to the rowers back and forth. No one was in between that area. For the speed squat, it's just a quicker squat up and down for 25 reps. And then that's going to go right into a 250 meter push all out effort row. After round 1, every row is then an all out row. So ideally, once they're done with the rower, they sign out. That walk back to the treads is part of their recovery before they start the next round. They could also get on the treadmill and start to walk. And then when they're ready, tap clear screen, reset their distance, then start round 2, round 3, et cetera, et cetera. Every round, distance goes down by 0.1 for the joggers and runners. Power walkers is obviously a 0.05 decrease. Bikes and striders have their distance that they're looking at. And then the reps and the row match up and they both decrease. So round 2 is 20 speed squats, 200 meters, then 15 and 150, 10 reps, 100, 5 reps, 50 meter all out row. It's like 6 strokes and they're done. After round 5, they could stay on the rower, steady state row, interval row. They could go back to the treads, steady state or interval row. Total distance on the treadmill is going to be 1.5 miles plus all the rowing. So a vast majority of people will probably get through, at least round 4. You might see, quite a few handful get through round 5, get to that bonus. And then the finish here, it's either on the tread or on the rower, wherever they happen to be, for an all-out effort. We have 23 minutes for that, nice and simple. Weight floor, 17.5 minutes for block 1, and then 90 seconds to set up the second block, and then a shorter 4-minute block there until the finisher. So when we look at block 1, 17.5 minutes, in total, you're gonna see 2 exercises done back to back, and then a third movement. So we have these low bench, single arm, step down, reverse lunge, 5 per side, followed by the alternating sumo deadlift for 10 total. Hit both movements, rest, and then the single arm squat reach with rotation to row. And that's a newer movement, so definitely watch the VVA beforehand, or look on the exercise library, because I do know that one is in there. But they'll do a squat reach, rotate, and they're pulling themselves up into that. All right. As soon as they finish that back to back, then they go to the next one, which is upper body. You have the dumbbell high row, back of the shoulders, paired up with a chest fly. You can do strap chest press as an option for that one. And it's that low bench straight arm sit up. Great option for that one that I find people that need the assistance is to load up their feet by having like a 20 or 25 pound dumbbell laying sideways and have their feet on either side, squeezing the weight. That will, load up their lower body and make it easier to get that sit up. And we don't want to see too much arm swing, because the idea is keeping the arms locked out and they're driving up into that sit up position. They'll have plenty of time for this block, so there's no need to rush. Definitely take that rest after each back to back. That third movement of the pair, obviously core based, whether it's with the rotation or the flexion extension. It doesn't say it on there, but personally, they should rest after that core movement before they go to the next back to back. Definitely be able to get at least 3 rounds in here. The second floor block, 4 minutes. You have the high plank pull through and then the dumbbell bridge. So they're obviously going to need 2 different weights, 10 reps for each. For that high plank pull through, dropping down to the knees. They can even do like shoulder taps as an option. Key thing though is slow and controlled. Really try to keep those hips stable. Wider feet placement will help with that as well. And then the dumbbell bridge. Make sure they're feeling it in the hamstrings and glutes. Because you have the bench out, if people want to challenge, you could have them place their feet on the bench, which will increase range of motion, and that will add a little bit of spiciness to it. And then the finisher is for the final 30. They choose between the high plank pull through or the bridge. Nice and simple. That's the 2G. Now the 3G, this is going to be very different than what you see for the 2G. So this is going to be a tread card one on the treadmills for 14.5 minutes. Row block, 1 long 14.5 minute block, and then weight floor, it's 2 blocks, similar to the 2G. Now, looking at the treads, they are going to do the same rounds as far as rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 from the 2G. So they have a 0.4 mile tread, a 0.3 mile tread, 0.2, and 0.1. The key difference though is instead of doing any exercise or the row, obviously, because it's a 3G, they have 0.4 mile tread and then a 0.1 mile base. So that first 0.4 mile tread, maybe they hold like a base push, or maybe they just hold their base. In that case, they're doing 0.5 at base. And then round 2 is 0.3 with a 0.1 mile base. Round 3, 0.2 tread, 0.1 base. Round 4, 0.1 mile tread. And then they have a 30-second walk recovery before then they go into their member choice bonus of either tread at 1 intensity or do intervals. And then they finish with a 30-second all out here. So round 1, 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. So that's going to be 1.4 miles in that 14.5 minutes. So at least round 3 is going to be, most people, definitely doable for sure. So just, think about coaching towards OTB and the effort rather than just, straight speeds people might use. Power walkers, everything is cut in half, of course. So 0.2 and then 0.05 at base, and then 0.15, 0.05, et cetera, et cetera. Now for the rowers, also drastically different since it is going to be not a run row style workout, but they are going to complete 1 row distance twice, then a body weight circuit 1 time. Then they go to a new distance. So round one, they have a 300-meter row, rest, match or beat their time. So 2 attempts. So they 300, 300, then they're done with 300, but then they're gonna do speed squats and twist hops, 10 reps for each of those 2 movements. Then they move to the next part. Part 2 is 250 meters, so same thing. Use the stored programs, hit their row, rack their handle, rest, match or beat their time. And then they have their circuit. So it's always row, twice, circuit, row, twice, circuit. They'll work their way all the way down to 100 meters for that final part 5. If they finish part 5, they'll just row until the finisher, which is a 30-second all out. For the weight floor, it's gonna be very similar to the first block for this first block here, except for it's just the back-to-back. So they have the step-down reverse lunge paired up with the alternating sumo deadlift. They'll rest, then they hit the upper body circuit with the high row and then low bench chest fly. Rest, and then repeat. It's only 9 minutes here, but then you have 90 seconds to get them set up for block number 2. And this is the same block 2 from the 2G. So 4 minutes here of the high plank pull through and the dumbbell bridge. Do them back to back, rest, and then repeat until the same exact finisher, pull throughs or the bridge. That's all I got for you guys. As always, any feedback, let me know. Coach it down.